Καλησπέρα σας και καλώς ορίσατε στο συνέδριό μας. Ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Democracy and Culture Foundation and Kathimerini, our partners in this endeavor, we would like to welcome you to the 13th Athens Democracy Forum, annual Athens Democracy Forum, that we convene in cooperation and in association with the New York Times. There is no doubt, ladies and gentlemen, that AI is the foremost concern of our times. And this is why we've decided to launch this year's forum with this special special and dedicated module on AI, ethics, and democracy. Quite appropriately, next door to Aristotle's Lyceum, and we're probably standing on the ruins of Aristotle's Lyceum beneath us. So hopefully we will draw inspiration from that. For this special module, we're very honored and happy to have Piraeus Bank as our supporter. And we want to thank Mr. Megalou, who will come and speak to us a bit later. But, you know, when there are a few other people I would like to thank before I make some other remarks. When we came up with this idea, we tasked our Vice Chair, Anthony Kefalas, to put together the program along with the Foresight Unit, Mr. Yannis Mastrogeorgiou, and Demokritos Research Center, Vangelis Karkaletsis, to put together a program in collaboration with the Worldwide Alliance for AI and Democracy that was launched at the recent AI Summit in Paris. And since we are going to be talking about AI factories, we're going to be talking about Pharos tomorrow, we're doing this under the auspices of the Growth Fund. And we're very happy to have Minister of Digital Governance, Mr. Papastergiou, that will kick off the proceedings with his remarks after mine. I'm sure that when these people were putting the program together, they had Aristotle in mind. This is something that Stephen Dunbar Johnson, the president of the New York Times, will moderate a panel on later on today, whether Aristotle's ethics are the right ones to apply on AI or not. Perhaps is some other ethics. But Aristotle, I'm sure, I know what he would be supporting. This is a democracy conference, so as Yuval Noah Harari, one of our speakers in a recent conference, alluded to in his new book, Nexus, we as delegates probably feel that we have come here to talk about the survival of democracy, that we have come here to talk about the redistribution of wealth, since inequality is the cancer of democracy. But I think our task is a little bit more daunting than that. I think the reason we decided to launch this year's conference with a dedicated AI module is because our entire political, economic, social systems, perhaps even maybe the fairy tale of religion, as Yuval says, are under collapse, perhaps. So we need to soak in the spirit of the ruins around us and try and come up with solutions. The task is daunting. The task is extremely daunting, not only for us, but the whole world. And as I sat down a few weeks ago to pen my opening remarks, I got sidetracked, as a lot of us do, by AI. I asked a few questions, and I started having this conversation with AI, and I started pushing back, saying, I want you to disagree with me. And it was a very interesting 45-minute, for AI, that's very long. If I didn't rely on AI, I would have spent quite a few hours, maybe a few days, putting my thoughts together. And at the end of that 45-minute conversation with AI, I thought, can you please summarize this for me in 4 minutes? And I'm going to take it and read it to the audience of the conference. So, this is the summary. We find ourselves at a turning point where two powerful forces are colliding in real time: the rise of AI and the state of human consciousness. Much is being said about AI's power to disrupt markets, transform industries, and even challenge the very idea of what it means to be human. But perhaps the deeper and more urgent question is this: as AI evolves, what kind of human beings are we becoming? And what kind of democracies will we choose to sustain? In preparing for this session, I've been in deep reflection, some of it in conversation with an AI system told me. What emerged from that exchange wasn't a script, but something more like a mirror, a reflection of what we as a species are capable of and what we are at risk of forgetting. Right now, it is true that much of AI's development is being shaped not by wisdom, empathy, or democratic values, but by greed, ego, and power. The infrastructure of AI, its data, its direction, its priorities, is largely in the hands of a small set of actors: powerful tech companies, government agencies, and elites whose incentives often run counter to the public good. That is not a conspiracy. It is a structural reality. And in the context of democracy, it presents a serious risk. The risk that power will be centralized, that consent will be automated, and that citizens will be reduced to data rather than dignified participants in public life. But that is not inevitable. There is another way. What if, instead of racing to build machines that outthink us, we use this moment to cultivate the parts of ourselves we've long underused: our attention, our critical thinking, our memory, our imagination, our empathy? What if AI became not a substitute for human intelligence, but a scaffolding for deeper learning, creative dialogue, and collective wisdom? And for me, the crux is here. Imagine a world in which 80% of people were using 80 to 90% of their cognitive and emotional potential, 80% of their brain power instead of the 30% that we use now. In such a world, democracy itself would be transformed. We would not just vote, we would understand. We would not just react, we would reflect. We would not just consume information, we would shape meaning together. This is not utopian. It is a matter of design and choice. AI will not decide our future, but it will amplify the consciousness with which we build it. And that means the responsibility is ours. The task before us is not just to regulate AI, is to reclaim the human spirit at the center of democracy. Can you hear us, Aristotle? To ensure that intelligence, whether human or artificial, serves freedom, dignity, and truth. And to remember that no machine can replace the moral courage of an awakened citizen. Ladies and gentlemen, let that be the spirit in which we begin this year's Athens Democracy Forum. Thank you.